production out of the Gulf states, but he's not going to ask Saudi Arabia? Why is he going there?
I'll tell you, this administration, like what the reporter was just saying, trying to blame inflation and the increase in gas prices on Putin's invasion. Let me tell you, Liz, before Putin ever moved any military towards an invasion, inflation was up 7.5% in the United States, and gas prices were up 75% since Joe Biden took the oath of office. It's hogwash for people to allow this administration to try to blame it on Putin and Ukraine when in fact it's their policies that's created the disaster with energy and with inflation.
You know, the Supreme Court ruling that the EPA overreached, that it cannot adopt on its own this sweeping regulatory scheme started under the Obama White House to push the U.S. power grid away from fossil fuels toward wind energy and solar energy. But Congressman, the Biden White House is still pushing the Biden climate agenda through the Clean Air Act. Texas Governor Greg Abbott, he's in a new and major fight. Biden's EPA wants to crack down on the nation's biggest oil field, the Permian Basin in Texas, claiming it's violating ozone pollution standards. That's a quarter of America's gas supply and 40% of our oil.
This administration's war on U.S. energy is exactly what's driving up the prices for every American whenever they pull into the gas pump. The fact that they're now trying to wage a regulatory war on an area in the United States that produces 40% of our gasoline is unacceptable. Apparently, this administration would rather be relying on Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, or other countries rather than our own U.S. oil supply. It's unacceptable. He should travel less than 1,000 miles to Midland, Texas, rather than going to Saudi Arabia when you're talking about producing more oil.
And, you know, Congressman, the Permian Basin is one of the nation's biggest employers. Nearly 100,000 workers there, plus it supports thousands of workers in towns near it. Let's watch climate advisor Gina McCarthy brag about the fossil fuel sector losing jobs under President Biden. Watch.
We just had a recent report that was put out that's showing all of the energy and the employment stats from last year. Clean energy is winning. Fossil fuels losing jobs.
What do you say?
Liz, this administration and everyone who works for him is completely out of touch with reality. But you know what? They're doing exactly what they campaigned on. Joe Biden, when he was campaigning for president, he said, look into my eyes. I guarantee you, I will eliminate fossil fuels. That's what he said when he was running for office, and that's in fact what his administration is trying to do. Their belief is increase gas so then everyone can drive an electric car. But guess what? Buying a $60,000 electric car in southeast Missouri isn't quite easy whenever people's median income household is $40,000 for a family of four. They're out of touch with real Americans.
And Congressman, Russia's Vladimir Putin is probably applauding this today. The president said over in Europe today that we will all have to pay for high gas as long as it takes in order to defeat Russia. You know, Putin wants high oil to pay for his war in Ukraine. This is Biden's price hike, not Putin's. Let's take a listen. Watch.
I can understand why the American people are frustrated because of inflation. But inflation is higher in almost every other country. Prices at the pump are higher in almost every other country. We're better positioned to deal with this than anyone, but we have a way to go. Ultimately, the reason why gas prices are up is because of Russia. Russia.
How long is it fair to expect American drivers and drivers around the world to pay that premium for this war?
As long as it takes. So Russia cannot, in fact, defeat Ukraine and move beyond Ukraine.
Russia's in it for the long haul, as long as it takes. Are we heading to like $10 a gallon?
If the administration has their way, Joe Biden would make sure you're paying $10 a gallon. These folks are completely out of touch, like I said, with everyday American. They want to raise the cost of energy. They want to raise the price per gallon. Their goal is to eliminate fossil fuels. Liz, as I said earlier, inflation was up 7.5% before Putin ever invaded Ukraine. Gas prices were up 75% before Putin invaded Ukraine. And it's because of the policies by executive order of Joe Biden and his administration. And this is what they want. And now they're trying to blame Putin. It's crazy.
But he's going to Saudi Arabia, but he's not going to ask Saudi Arabia to pump more. That's what he just said earlier. We replayed that early in the show. You know, America should be a superpower in energy. The U.S. is the only country in the G7 with the ability to be energy independent and an exporter of oil and gas. No other country in the world, not even the G7, deliberately chooses to not be energy independent. We can produce oil and gas on a scale like no other country. But Biden chooses to beg dictators and enrich Putin versus energy independence. Let's watch House Minority Whip Congressman Steve Scalise on this. He's got some fixes here. Watch this.
And they're all on record over the last few years saying they want higher gas prices. Biden, as a candidate, said he wanted to shut down and bankrupt the fossil fuel industry. They've been wrong on everything. They're wrong on energy, but they're just anti-American energy. And so that's why people are paying $5 a gallon. And now we see the price. Families are paying the price at the pump. It's painful. It's causing not only inflation, but potentially a recession. It's why when you go to the grocery store, you're paying more there too. We can produce more of our own. 2 million barrels more a day we could produce if they just got the federal government out of the way, but they won't.
So, Congressman, what's the GOP's roadmap? What's their plan if you guys take back control of Congress?
President Trump had it. In 2020, he made us energy independent. We need to get back to those policies. Unfortunately, this administration reversed every one of those policies and now has made the United States energy dependent on countries that love to burn our flag, which is absolutely unacceptable, Liz. We can be energy independent right here in the United States. Just follow the policies under what Trump had in 2020.
Congressman Smith, come back soon. It's great to have you on.